The stories you're about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Augusta Crime Stoppers, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't.
This week's Augusta Chronicle crime map shows Augusta had well over 200 reported crimes this week alone. Because only about 1/3 of all crimes are ever even reported, the real crime stats for this week are closer to around 900 crimes, putting Augusta on target for about 3,600 crimes a month. One unsolved burglary was reported at 511 Sandbar Ferry Road. That is still an unsolved active case. The crime was listed as burglary, first-degree forced entry, residence at an unknown time on May 18th. If you think you know anything about any of these 3,600 crimes a month that we're looking at, please, we urge you to contact the Richmond County Sheriff's Office or whoever is in charge of that area. If they do a press release saying that an Augusta Crime Stopper tip led them to that bad guy and stopping that bad guy, you will get paid. If you've watched AugustaCrimeStoppers.org for any period of time, you've seen us say that there are ISIS radicalized terrorists in our midst. We've shown you that there are at least 50 training bases in the United States training ISIS terrorists. We've shown you that there are areas of the United States that are now Sharia law only. Enter at your own risk. Now, after we had shared with everyone in town that ISIS was radicalizing people in this area, and we were told we were just making it up, when in fact all we do is pass on the tips, people. We get the tips, we pass them on. If people don't want to work the tips to save your neck, well, that's their prerogative. You have elected them to that public office, and if they allow your children to go into slavery, personally, from what we've seen in other countries, ISIS is already going to chop their heads off first, and then you won't really be able to do anything about your elected that kind of sold you down the river into slavery, because their head is already going to be on a pike. Leon Nathan Davis III, who is a 37-year-old white male, said in U.S. District Court Wednesday that he intended to join ISIS in Syria last November. Davis has been in custody since his arrest on November 24th. Davis was on probation, and because he was on probation for having several illegal weapons, being that he is a felon who was dealing cocaine and got busted for dealing cocaine. And when he got busted for dealing cocaine, he had 2 12-gauge shotguns, 2 .45 caliber handguns, 3, count them, 3 .223 caliber rifles, and an SKS-style rifle, all in the spring of 2014. So, when we tell you something that's going on, you're hearing it weeks and months, and in this case, years before anyone else has told you what's going on. If you're following AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, you are up to years ahead of any other intelligence that you can watch, so you can plan ahead. That's why we get these tips and drop you hints. Hint, hint, hint. Now, we were ridiculed, questioned, told we were making these things up, and that we were just wrong. But the fact is, there is ISIS in this area. Leon Nathan Davis III, a 37-year-old white male, admitted that he was going to go fight with ISIS. But that's the numbskull that put it on Facebook. How about all the sleeper cells that aren't putting it on Facebook, that do not let anybody know what they're up to? How about that? Fact. They're here, and this is just one. If you guys see any more ISIS activity anywhere, especially the internet, where they're radicalizing Americans, we urge you to call the FBI. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or text your tips to 803-441-8744. Where you remain anonymous, save your children from slavery, and get paid. Columbia County Sheriff's deputies are asking for your help finding the forgery subjects you see on your screen. Each of these suspects are wanted for forgery. If you know who or where they may be, please contact Investigator Chambers of the Columbia County Sheriff's Office at 706-541-2800 immediately. Forgery has become a plague on the land, and now they can forge all kinds of things, including forging all the equity out of your home, forging all the money off your credit cards or debit cards, forging land holdings such as timber and land. All types of documents are being forged, so when a forger crew like this is operating in your area, nobody's money or wealth is safe. If you think you know of any criminals, especially white-collar criminals that most people just don't pay attention to, if you know where they are, please call your police. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or text your tips to tips at AugustaCrimeStoppers.org. Where you remain anonymous, keep your stuff by preventing forgers from stealing it right out from under your nose, and get paid. Richmond County Sheriff's deputies report a all-terrain vehicle was stolen near the Augusta Airport at the down river from the dam boat ramp area. A ATV valued at about $7,000 to $8,000 was stolen near the property of the Augusta Regional Airport, according to an incident report from the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. The ATV was left about 9 p.m. May 14th and is owned by a 26-year-old Augusta man. He said he left his 2010 Polaris four-wheeler at that location for just a while. When he returned, the 2010 Polaris four-wheeler was stolen. If we continue leaving the bad guys on the street and not reporting the bad guys, then you will not have your bicycles, you will not have your four-wheelers, you may not have your pickup truck, you may lose some of your children, your wife could be raped, you may be home invaded. By leaving the bad guys on the street instead of calling them in and letting our police pick them up, you are placing yourself in direct and immediate danger. Since 2010, when AugustaCrimeStoppers.org began, crime has been dropped by up to 39% because tipsters and viewers like you called Road Patrol mostly, where about 90% of all the bad guys have been picked up, And sometimes there have been cases where investigators in CID have been able to get bad guys picked up also. But by calling Road Patrol and saying you're a Crime Stopper tipster and sending Road Patrol right out to the location while the bad guy is sitting there waiting, you can take the bad guy off the street before you have to get him out of your home. You can take back your neighborhood and your town, keep your stuff, keep your life, keep your job. Many times, whenever people steal everything in the back of a pickup truck that a whole crew of people are waiting to go to work on, or they steal the pickup truck with all the tools too, this wipes out that entire job crew. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jobs can be wiped out by one criminal stealing the things that crew needs to make a living with. Road Patrol will pick them right up. We have some great Road Patrol officers, and if you let them know where the bad guys are, I've seen personally that they will do everything they can to take these bad guys off the street. If the police do a press release saying an AugustaCrimeStoppers.org tip led to their arrest, you will be paid a cash reward. Lieutenant Alan Rollins of the Richmond County Sheriff's Office sends us another shooting on East Telfair. Imagine that, in River Glen Apartments. Surprise, surprise. One guy was shot. Upon arrival, deputies observed Mr. Alonzo Henderson laying in the entranceway to the building. Mr. Henderson advised that he was walking through the complex en route to his residence. Mr. Henderson advised that when he got close to the Q building in the back of the apartment complex, he was shot. Deputies observed an entrance wound in Mr. Henderson's left side. Mr. Henderson advised that he did not see who shot him or anyone around at the time of the incident. Deputies spoke with the listed complainant, Mrs. Kenya Lee, who advised that while she was cooking in her apartment Q123, she heard what sounded like a gunshot. So she called 911. Ms. Lee advised that after she heard the shot, Mr. Rashad Leach looked out of their apartment window and saw a male laying in the entranceway to the building. Mr. Leach advised that when he went to help and observed Mr. Henderson laying on the ground in the entranceway bleeding, he decided to get some help. Deputies did not observe a crime scene or any evidence, shell casings or anything in the area at the time of the call, which indicates this individual may have been shot with a revolver that does not leave a shell casing behind. Deputies notified Investigator Smith, 7:30, who arrived on scene a short time later, at which time the investigators turned over to him. Gold Cross Medical Unit 29 responded and transported Mr. Henderson to GRU Hospital, 1120 15th Street, for treatment. If you think you know who or where this shooter may be, please call the police. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you remain anonymous, unshot, and get paid. The Augusta Chronicle's Wesley Brown reports deputies were called about 3:10 p.m. Sunday to a home on the 3700 block of Clanton Road. When they arrived, the inside appeared to be raided with drawers and closets opened. The resident's brother said he was looking after the home while the homeowner was away and had left the house about 1:30 p.m., then returned 2 days later to find an air conditioning unit lying on the ground beneath a rear window. The victim told police 4 flat-screen TVs, including 2 32-inch TVs worth $400, were stolen. He said a 56-inch television worth $1,200 and a 52-inch TV valued at $700 were also taken, along with a Microsoft Xbox 360 Slim priced at $300. deputies recovered 4 latent prints from the home for analysis. This area of South Augusta has been the target of burglars, and we did a special on houses basically in Augusta that specialize in taking the stolen items in for very small cash payments, or drugs, or prostitutes, or cars, or rides, or services, or whatever. These fencing operations that are located throughout the city of Augusta, but sometimes concentrated in the east boundary area of Augusta, have been there for over 20 years and are the primary location burglars throughout the entire CSRA take these stolen items to. If these fencing operations were not available to quickly turn these stolen items into cash, most of the burglaries that you see happening, especially in that part of town, but all over the CSRA, would come to a quick and speedy halt. Contact your police and ask them to close down these well-known 20-plus-year-old fencing operations that allow burglars to quickly turn their stolen property into fast cash. You can take back your homes by taking the bad guys off the street before they're in your homes by reporting these fencing operation houses and bad guys that make a full-time living trading on the burglary of your house. If you see bad guys, call them in. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office Road Patrol has picked up about 90% of all bad guys Crime Stopper tipsters have given tips on. When you see bad guys, call them in. If the police arrest them and do a press release saying a AugustaCrimeStoppers.org tip led to their arrest, you will be paid a cash reward.
And now, this Crime Stoppers special report.
Crime Stoppers Wes Muller and Lauren Wallach report a multi-agency manhunt is underway after a deputy was beaten and cut during a traffic stop. Adams said the officer, who has not yet been identified, suffered a 2.5-inch cut to his forehead and multiple bodily injuries. The incident took place about 10 p.m. on Old Highway 90 when the deputy stopped a blue-in-color Lincoln Town car with a black top that had one person inside. He said the deputy suspected something was wrong and was startled when 2 men came out of the nearby woods and attacked him. They roughed him up, but the officer was able to press a button and release his canine from the back seat. Boy, don't we all wish we had a button like that. He said the canine apparently latched on to one of the suspects, freeing the officer. The suspects then fled in the town car, headed in the general direction of Augusta, Georgia. They may be in, possibly on I-20. We don't know, but there is a big-time manhunt for, at least now, 3 individuals in a blue Lincoln Town car with a black top. If you see a blue Lincoln Town car with a black top that may have Mississippi, Alabama, or Louisiana, or Georgia tags, please call the police if this vehicle is acting suspiciously. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or text your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and get paid. Allendale police officers and agents with the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division are investigating yet another deadly shooting in South Carolina. This shooting was called in just after 5:30 Tuesday, and the victim was going to the hospital, but when investigators got there, the victim was dead. This is the fourth killing that has occurred in South Carolina since an admitted meth addict named Ashley Nicole Wilson was released from a South Carolina jail where she had been picked up in a stolen vehicle that she stole from Georgia on 2 other warrants. Somehow, something was said and something was done to get this lady released. We're not saying that the deaths that have occurred in her stomping grounds, which Allendale is her stomping grounds, and the Valley in South Carolina are her stomping grounds, we're not saying that she had anything at all to do with this. But she's an admitted meth addict. The killings that we're talking about right now occurred in her known stomping grounds, and she's still on the loose. There is a valid warrant that's on NCIC for Ashley Nicole Wilson for stealing a car. If you know who killed this person in Allendale, or you know who killed the other 3 individuals, the young black female, another individual, and another individual in the Valley, or you know where police can pick up and question Ashley Nicole Wilson, who we're not saying has anything to do with these murders, but birds of a feather flock together. And many of these South Carolina murders are related to the exploding meth manufacturing trade being carried out in South Carolina. South Carolina is one of the fastest locations of meth production, and Mexican meth is being brought in from Mexico and flooding the South Carolina, East Georgia area. If you know of any of these crimes or anyone who may have committed any of these crimes, please, we urge you to call the police or call Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS. If your tip results in the arrest of someone involved in any of these crimes and the police do a press release saying a Crime Stopper tip led them to any of these murderers, or to Ashley Nicole Wilson, who has a warrant on her for stealing a car in Georgia and being found and admitted stealing the keys, then stealing the car, and being caught red-handed in the stolen car in South Carolina may be, please give us a call. If they're picked up and the police say that a Crime Stopper tip led them to any of these suspects or solving any crime at all, you will be paid a cash reward. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office is seeking tips of the almost 200 people at the scene of Kyle Royal's shooting that may lead police who shot him in an auto as it sped from Magic City in the Legal Teen Club at 3200 Mike Paget Highway. If you have any information about this shooting, please call Lieutenant Calvin Chu at 706-821-1028, Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and get paid. Tiffany Takahashi of Fox 54 reports a reward is offered in North Augusta shooting. A $5,000 reward is offered for information leading to the arrest of the person who shot and killed a man in North Augusta in January. Donnie Lee Brooks Jr., 23, was around 2:45 a.m. on January 11th at the Ridgeview Manor Apartments off Bradleyville Road. The suspect fled the scene and still has not been identified. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives is asking anyone with information about this crime to contact ATF at 888-ATF-TIPS. That's 888-283-8477. All calls will be kept confidential. This crime is being investigated by the ATF Regional Anti-Gang Enforcement Unit, which consists of ATF, North Augusta Department of Public Safety, Aiken County Sheriff's Office, Aiken Department of Public Safety, Richmond County Sheriff's Office, and the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division.
Now for an update on the Travis Moore murder investigation. As you may have already seen on crime reports, investigators say Moore was gunned down on the 3400 block of Old Louisville Road at Finney Road a little before 2:30 a.m. on Thursday morning, May 26th. Witnesses say Moore was robbed and shot while on his way home from a nearby club, even though he was in his own front yard with another male and female friend who saw the whole thing. Travis's friends have set up a Facebook page in an effort to find Travis's killers called R.I.P. Travis Moore. At the time of the shooting, the suspects were described as two black males wearing ski masks. Someone may have seen stalking Travis in the Old Louisville Road at Finney Road area. However, new information has emerged indicating that one of the robbers may have been white. A lawn man mowing a lawn near where Travis was shot found a small caliber pistol. Now that we know the bullet that was taken from Travis was a small caliber, Augusta Crime Stoppers is doubling our previous reward of up to $2,000. For information leading to the gun that shot Travis, or any information which may lead to Travis's killer. If you think you know how police may find who shot Travis Moore, please call investigator Blaze Dresser at 706-821-1020. Or, for more information, visit our Augusta Crime Stoppers Facebook page and submit your tip. As always with Crime Stoppers, you may remain anonymous and you will get a cash reward.
Richmond County Sheriff's deputies report two black males were shot and wounded after leaving the U21 Club on Wrightsboro Road and Jackson Roads this week. Deputies say Jaquan Robinson, 18, and Fredrigus Gibbs, 21, left the club and walked to the Smart Store at Foxden to buy some Black & Milds. The incident report says that they saw two cars passing them, and these two cars slowly turned around to approach. These men heard someone yell, "That's them," before shooting at them. Then they ran for their lives. The sheriff's office reports Gibbs was shot in the left arm and twice in the left leg. Robinson was grazed in the left calf, but they say the wound was minor. If you think you know where these two carloads of shooters may be, please call the police. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and get paid. Augusta Crime Stoppers is about to welcome its 3,000th member. All you have to do to join AugustaCrimeStoppers.org is like us and follow us on Facebook. To get membership cards and other Crime Stopper goodies, all you have to do is go to our website and make a donation. Then tell us about your donation and we'll get started by sending you a plaque and Crime Stopper cards so you can stop crime too. If you're the 3,000th new member who likes Augusta Crime Stoppers Facebook page, you will also get paid.
Augusta Crime Stoppers is brought to you by WBEK Channel 16 and Augusta Crime Stoppers. You too could be a Crime Stopper. If you have any information on any crime, call our tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Augusta Crime Stoppers is a production of Michael's Media. Augusta Crime Stoppers, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't.